Hey guys, what's up? It's Azetta, and today I wanted to talk to you about how to start a bullet journal on a budget. I feel like one reason people sometimes hesitate to start a bullet journal is that it can be a big financial investment, but it doesn't have to be. I know that when I personally first started bullet journaling and I didn't know if I was actually going to like it or stick with it, the last thing that I wanted to do was spend a ton of money on Tombow dual brush pens and complimentary washi tapes to fill my scribbles that matter. Suppose if I want to stay relevant, I should have said an Archer and Olive, but I digress. So when I first started bullet journaling, I actually managed to do it for I think about $15. I am going to have links to everything that I talked about today down in the description box below, or the doobly-doo as the cool kids call it. Obviously, if you want to start bullet journaling inexpensively, then you need to get your supplies inexpensively. All you really need for a bullet journal is something to write on and something to write with. Whether that's a piece of paper and a pencil, or an iPad and an Apple Pencil, it's all still just writing on something. The sort of traditional bullet journal notebook style is a dot grid journal. I personally started with this one from Minimalism Art that you can get off of Amazon for about $10. So the pages of this aren't brilliantly white, there's no index, the pages aren't numbered, nothing is bleed proof or ghost proof, but it got the job done for me for 6 months, and I really put this thing through the ringer, as you can probably see just from the outside. So since my Minimalism Art journal, I've actually moved on to Sulerin 1981s. I did use a Scribbles That Matter in the middle, but it wasn't better enough to justify paying $25 as opposed to the 10 to 15 range of the Sulerin 1981s. So I personally prefer this one to the journal that I got from Minimalism Art just because it has the elastic closure, the pen loop, 3 bookmarks instead of 1, and even a back flap. So this is actually my second Sulerin 1981. I also recently got one for my mother because I made her a bullet journal, and I've seen them floating around YouTube as well. So I can highly recommend the Sulerin 1981 as well as the Minimalism Art journal. Both of these will be linked down below, and again, they're not Archer and Olive quality, but they will more than serve the purpose and get the job done. Now on to pens and markers, but we're going to start with markers. Markers in a bullet journal are strictly creative stylistic choices. They aren't necessary. They're not part of the original bullet journal method by Ryder Carroll. I initially got a pack of fine liner markers that I don't know where they are anymore, though those will be linked in the description box below. If you do want to add color though, I have a couple of tips on how to find markers cheap. First, if you're already using highlighters or anything for taking school notes, use those. You can also either raid your house or the house of someone you know with children who recently left the arts and crafts stage of childhood. Odds are you will be able to find some sort of Crayola marker. I personally was able to find almost all of these Crayola super tips just sitting around in my house, and let me tell you, they are fantastic for bullet journaling. They are very cheap compared to like Tombow dual brush pens or anything like that. They come in a wide variety of colors. You can even use Crayola super tips sort of similar to how someone would use a Tombow dual brush pen when trying to create brush lettering or get different sized lines from the same color. This can also be done with the Crayola Pipsqueaks markers, though as far as I know, those don't come in quite as wide a variety of colors. I also wanted to discuss a basic black pen. Again, it could be any color pen. You could use a pencil, you could strictly use markers. Your bullet journal is yours, it doesn't matter. But if you do want to use the standard black pen to help organize your bullet journal and write in it, you do not need to go and buy some fine liner with a Japanese name you're only about 70% sure how to pronounce. You can genuinely just use the standard black pen that you already use to take notes or sign checks or play Boggle or whatever people use pens for. I personally am partial to the Pilot G207s, but that is a gel pen, so there's one cautionary tale there. Gel pens typically dry more slowly than other pens like ballpoint pens, so if you're going to use them in tandem with a marker or highlighter, I would recommend laying down your color first and then writing over it with the pen. This will help prevent any smudging or smearing that would come from doing the pen and then the marker. It'll also keep your markers cleaner, which is always good. Obviously, as I said at the beginning, a bullet journal is whatever you need it to be. So always go with what you need and what makes most sense for you and your situation. These are just the tricks that I personally used when I first started bullet journaling and didn't want to sink a ton of money into it. Obviously, I have put more money into it over time as I've gotten more used to it. I have been bullet journaling for almost 2 years now. There are also ways that you can prolong the life of whatever journal you buy in an attempt to keep costs down over time. You can avoid using strictly decorative spreads, you can avoid using Dutch doors, unless of course you're just going to reuse whatever paper you put out, and you can also just lay out your spreads in a somewhat creative way. I personally don't really worry about trying to save space and save pages in my bullet journal just because I know that it is something that is genuinely useful to me and that any money I put into it is genuinely an investment in my future. If you guys want to see a video on how to save space in your bullet journal, then let me know in the comment section down below. Also, if you enjoyed this video, then please give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button, as it really does help to support and grow my channel. Well, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys. I can't even take that seriously. For started.